Go ahead.
Okay, so in this case, we have our victim, Miss Moore, who was found here. Call came in at 8:10 a.m. from her father. Now, from what we found here, we have 3 sets of footprints entering through this door. We have 1, 2, and 3. 4 doesn't exist.
Well.
4 we found was later to be 3. So,
Whose are they?
1 is Jackson's, Michael Jackson, Miss Moore's boyfriend. 2 was found to be Miss Moore's herself. And 3 was found to be her best friend Amanda's curling shoe. So, based on the appearance of the footprints, they seem to all be somewhat in dirt. It seems like they came together and they lead the trails all the way over to the couches.
Were they wet residue or dry residue prints?
They came up with the electrostatic lift, so we will assume they were dry residue. We tried to dust and nothing came up, so dry residue seemed to work. They entered, all 3, together. Amanda, Jackson, and Demi. They took a seat on the couches. And then on this side, Jackson and Demi over here. We found another dry residue print of Amanda's in this area, right about here, saying that she would be on that side of the couch. Boyfriend and girlfriend sitting over here. We found a wine bottle, 94, 2 wine glasses, 37 and H, and a red cup, 63. The wine glass, H, the short wine glass, and 94, the wine bottle, were both found to have Jackson's prints on them. Placing them right here. The red cup didn't come up for prints, and neither did the other wine glass. Now, they're
So you didn't get any prints on the wine glasses?
only on the short wine glass.
Whose prints were they?
They were Jackson's. Exemplar 5.
Okay.
And we found those on the bottle as well. So they're sitting, enjoying a couple glasses of wine, talking to each other, and something comes up that maybe Demi wanted to talk about. She's having some moral issues. We're told from the lab that a white residue was found on her inner thigh, which was semen linked to the father. So, Demi decides to tell Jackson that she doesn't want to be with him anymore, and Amanda's here for moral support. And when she explains that it's due to sexual relations with her father that may have happened earlier that day, Jackson goes nuts. She stands up because she's freaking out. He gets up too and proceeds to go after her to the corner, in case knocking this table off to the side. She gets as far as he can before he gets hands on her, right about here. She's up against these blinds right now. We found this void in the blood here. We think he struck with his left hand to the right side of her face, which would explain the contusions on the cheek and lip, and possibly incisions from biting down when he struck. We have minimum 3 blows right now. We think the first one caused blood. He got a second shot in, causing this top impact, and on her way down, she started to fall. Got a third strike in, causing this lower impact. She falls down here. Blood pouring from her mouth, possibly nose, causes this pool right here. She starts to try to get away. You have this droplet trail leading out. That first initial strike is going to cause a lot of blood dropping out. He gets her again, picks her back up, pushes her into the corner, gets his hands around the throat. Cause of death was manual strangulation. And he starts going at it. Now, we have this random spatter here, and what looks almost to be like cast off from her fingers or his fingers. We have these 3 lines, all this random spatter going. So we think she was struggling. She's bleeding from the mouth, she's bleeding from her nose. She's reaching, throwing her hands, whichever direction. He has his shirt on. It's all over there. You're getting the random spatter, you're getting some bigger drops going, the cast off flying that way. And then we think Amanda, being the best friend, is concerned. Comes over here to try and stop it. Now he's over here strangling her in the corner. We have Amanda's prints here in the blood, leading off that way. So we're going to start within the blood. She steps in and tries to throw Jackson off, in which case he slips this way and pushes Demi across her own blood spatter, which leads to this ghosting right here from the spatter that was already on this wall. She swiped across it. So Amanda gets in the way, gives Demi a chance to try to get away. She escapes and goes behind the couch. As you can see by her footprints, number 2, starting right here at the edge of this table where it knocks it off the side. We have a print there. That came up to her exemplar, and more prints leading all the way to this area right here where we have another print from her right there on the floor. Jackson, who was thrown back by Amanda, continues to pursue her. He goes this way across and intercepts her right at the office door. Amanda, still trying to intervene, comes behind the couch where we have number 3 in blood all the way around. That's her. He gets his hands on her over here again, where we have this pool. The swipes here shows that struggle. We have Jackson's footprints. All in, we have multiple footprints from Demi, which should explain them both there. Again, him struggling to strangle her, or trying to save her own life. Amanda gets in the middle one more time, potentially steps in some of that blood, and gets thrown off to where she gets over here.
Who?
Blood print. Amanda. We have Amanda's footprint, number 3 in blood, off in this direction. She's shocked now. She doesn't know what to do. She's staying out of it at this point. Watches her friend get strangled. Jackson gets her to the floor, finishes it. We have, right here, we have Demi possibly grabbing to try to stand herself up, going for the door. She has her blood on her hands. The swipes for more struggle. Arms could be thrown. And then finally, he finishes it right here. She's dead. This pool of blood is there after the fact over top of this swiping from her dead body laying there. And we have Jackson's footsteps trailing out this way now. So, he gets to about here where he probably starts to stop and think, oh my God, just killed my girlfriend. What do I do? He's freaking out. Amanda's freaking out. She gets the bright idea. Sees this tissue box right over here. Walks this way. You can see from more bloody prints here and here from her. She walks around, grabs the tissue box, gives one to Jackson, who was hit in the struggle. He has a nosebleed. He fixes that, wipes himself off, and then looks down at this mess on his shirt. It's like, what do I do? They get the bright idea to remove the tissues from the box, stuff the shirt into the tissue box, place the tissues back on top of it, place the box on this table at 34 on their way out. He drops the tissue, not thinking that later on DNA evidence could link him at the scene, and they leave. Where, outside, they construct the alibi that he had had sex with her earlier, with Demi, his girlfriend, earlier in the day, which would explain his prints, any traces of him. And Amanda, who, as we saw by her interview, was still interested in Jackson, goes along with it, because she goes for the greater good of getting to finally be with Jackson. She pushes out on the door. We have her prints, number 6, on the glass from her opening. She doesn't want him touching it. He probably still has some blood left on him. And they leave. And then, like I said, they construct their story. The father comes by next morning at 8:10 a.m. We have the call. Sees the body, realizes what happened, and then says that he came in, touched the body to see if she was still alive. Obviously neglected to say that he had had sex with his daughter because it's quite frowned upon and wouldn't want that to come up in a court of law, and leaves. That's what we believe is our reconstruction.